RCM-19, the pedestal grinder with dust collector. We're basically going to go over the safety, the description of what we're covering today, the expectations of the student that will go through this, the product description in general. We're also going to define the controls and see what maintenance procedures look like and any troubleshooting related to this machine. There's also going to be, if any special tools are required, just a quick overview of those as well. This will kind of allow anyone who goes through this to be fully versed in the maintenance procedures and correct operation of the equipment. So let's get started. I've got a few highlighted points that we can just jump around, and I have the maintenance operating manual here for us to reference on the overview. So in general, we do just kind of have to rifle through the important safety instructions. For the most part, they do encourage just, keeping untrained personnel away from the equipment and essentially not using it in any of the incorrect ways. A few of the highlights that you want to address is be sure that you're aware of any warning signs or replace them as needed on the machine. Read and understand the entire owner's manual before attempting assembly and operation of this dust collector. And the grinder will come after this section, so we'll just go through the dust collector part. Always wear approved safety glasses or face shield while using the dust collection stand. Everyday eyeglasses only have impact resistance lenses and they're not safety glasses. Down to point 8. There. Hearing protection such as plugs or muffs during extended period of operation are encouraged. It's definitely site specific. I don't know if you guys require it or not. So, do not operate this machine while tired or under any influence of drugs, alcohol, or medication. Or just lead to harm or injury. Number 12. Make all machine adjustments or maintenance with the machine unplugged from its power source. So there's a 110 power outlet with the grounding on it, and basically unplug that for any maintenance procedures that need to occur. Sorry. Do you have?
Yeah, it doesn't match up with the screen.
You were good.
Very nice.
So, basically the first page. Most of these are repetitive text in general, just like preventative injury. Make sure you're wearing all of your correct PPE, such as a helmet, eyeglasses, earmuffs if needed, face shield if required, steel-toed boots, and high vis. Any site-specific PPE, please wear them at all times. And then just don't use it outside of its intended use. Doing so will possibly void the warranty. So for number 14, we can go to. That one will be keep safety guards in place at all times when this machine is in use, and if removed for maintenance purposes, use extreme caution and replace the guards immediately after maintenance is complete. Number 15, check damaged parts. Before further use of the machine, of the guard or other part that is damaged should be carefully checked and determine that it will operate properly and perform its intended function. Check for alignment of moving parts, binding of moving parts, breaking of parts, or mounting of any other conditions that may affect its operation. A guard or other part that is damaged should be properly repaired or replaced. Number 16, provide adequate space surrounding the work area in a non-glare from overhead lighting. 17, keep the floor around the machine clean and free of scrap, material, oil, and grease. 18, keep visitors a safe distance away from the work area and keep children away. Number 19, your workshop I guess it's not entirely applicable so long as children are away from it, but like child proofing is recommended, but not exactly a requirement because they're not present on this job site. Number 20, give your work undivided attention. Looking around, carrying on a conversation, and horseplay or careless acts that can result in serious injury. Number 21, the dust collection stand is intended for indoor use and to reduce the risk of electrical shock. Do not use outdoors or on wet surfaces. Okay. Number 22, do not use to pick up anything that is burning, smoking, such as cigarettes, matches, or hot ashes. Do not use to pick up flammable or combustible liquids such as gasoline and or use in areas where they may be present. Do not pull or carry by the cord, use the cord as a handle, or close the door on the cord. Do not pull the cord around sharp edges or corners. Do not run the dust collector over the cord and keep the cord away from heated surfaces. 26. Do not unplug by the cord. Please grasp the plug, not the cord, when unplugging the dust cord. And then do not use the dust bag, or do not use without dust bag and or filters in place. So there's a filter on the back door of this. That's basically the inlet. That is, I believe, only removed during maintenance, so it shouldn't be an issue. Alright. Number 28. Alright, do not handle plug or machine with wet hands. Do not put any objects into the openings outside of typical use, I guess. Do not use with the opening blocked. Keep free of dust, lint, hair, and or anything that may reduce airflow. Do not operate without the hose connected to the inlet. Please cap the unused inlet port if needed. Hazardous moving parts are inside. Unplug before removing and connecting inlet or inlet guard. Number 31, use recommended accessories. Improper accessories may be hazardous. I think they just mean manufacturer enforced. Number 32, maintain tools with care. Follow instructions for lubricating and or changing accessories. Number 33, turn off machine and disconnect from power before any cleaning. Use a brush or compressed air by removing the chips or debris. Do not use bare hands. Do not leave this machine when it is plugged in. Unplug from the outlet when not in use and before servicing. 35. Do not stand on the machine. Serious injury can occur when the machine tips over. 36. Dust collector is intended for industrial use only. 37, never mix ferrous and non-ferrous materials in the same dust collector. If you are not familiar with the proper and safe usage of metal dust collection systems, do not use until proper training has been attained. And then the side here is just California carcinogen warnings, so they're not really applicable. They are also just there. Let me go through it. Where's that? So those are just like caution and warning and what they mean. So the caution signs will mean that if precautions are not heeded, minor injury is possible. And then the warning is serious injuries or even fatal injuries are possible. So heed those stickers on the machine. About this manual, the main point is this manual contains instructions on the installation, safety precautions, and general operating procedures, maintenance instructions, and parts breakdown. So there's a large quantity of exploded views at the bottom of this manual. The table of contents, just so we know where to jump to. And then everything is basically set up and installation up until a certain point, even electrical grounding. So the machine's currently installed and the cord is grounded and plugged in. So it's an operable procedure, so we can jump all the way to point 7, which will be on page 10 of this whole manual. Page 10 should be operations, and then you should see the electrical button that that turns the machine on. So, for operations, warning, do not mix ferrous and non-ferrous materials or metal dust in the same dust collector. Failure to comply can increase the risk of a fire. So for the main switch that you can see in figure 6 is kind of just a pull-out button. So the pull-out on switch A, figure 6, is to start the machine. When you pull it out, a green light will indicate that a lamp will illuminate. Push the switch back to stop the machine, and that light will also turn off. The safety key is seen as item C in figure 6. So this is the section you guys went over. And this is figure 6 that we're referencing. So for the safety key is item C on figure 6. It prevents unauthorized use of the machine. Remove this key to deactivate the switch, and the key must be reinserted to start the machine. Press until it snaps back in. So this is your lockout, tagout, or one version of it. Unplugging the machine and tagging it with the tag will be also acceptable. For the thermal relay, the dust collector has a thermal relay which shuts off the machine to prevent any damage to the motor, and if there is an excessive current inrush of the motor and is overloaded. If the machine shuts off due to overload, push the stop switch, allow the machine to cool for a few moments, and then press the breaker reset button located near the power cord entry on the right side of the machine, and pull out the start button to restart the machine. So that button is kind of relatively small. If we're looking at the machine from head on, such as this podium, it'll be reaching right over on this side. We can move on to the maintenance, which is probably the most important portion of this training. So for user maintenance, warning, always disconnect the power from the machine before performing any maintenance. Failure to do so may cause serious personal injury. So keep dust collection stand clean, brush away any chips and debris after use. Do not use bare hand, please use compressed air or a brush. Periodically empty the collection drawer and clean out the interior of the dust collector stand. I think that's suggested around once a week just because of various usage depending on how often you guys actually run these things. Replace the filter after a maximum of 800 hours of use. Inspect the power cord almost every use before and after startup. Any damage or worn cord must be replaced before operating the dust collector. Any other servicing should be performed by an authorized service representative. But yeah, it is a fairly simple machine, on, off, and then replacing the filter and emptying the dust bin. And we have some optional accessories. For the most part, I don't believe any of these are applicable, except for the heated hoses are already in place and they are kind of tanked out, so they might not ever need to be replaced, but if needed, these are the part numbers for them. And then we have the replacement parts here. Not entirely important for our purposes. You can just kind of see a general overview of what that exploded loop is. So right now this is just on solid footing, and essentially this would be your door assembly, and that filter is built into it. This is the drawer, that's the pull-out drawer that you would need to empty probably weekly. And then this is the adapter plate that the grinder we're about to go over is mounted onto. And here are your hose inlets and outlets for everything. Again, I doubt they would need to be replaced anytime soon. Motor and fan assembly, just for reference. So that's just the parts list that goes along with it. Correct rotation. circuit is also available. And then your warranty and service information are shown at the very end of this. So that is it for the dust collector portion, and then we get the grinder. I believe that would follow directly after what you have on your sheet. And essentially, you can turn, I think, like 3 pages from where you're at.
What page are you on?
So I just got to the end of the jet. So you'll basically keep turning until you see like a Valor page. That'll be like maybe 5 pages from where you're at right now. It's kind of close to the end, so like the last 2 pages. And, well, like 2 of those. And like one more, I think, over here.
Page 15?
Would be like that one.
Oh,
Just after that. So maybe the one your thumbs on.
Ah.
Yeah, perfect. Alright, so essentially this is just general grinder safety. We're just gonna read through all the points I have highlighted. Everything else is just extra fluff words that are added in there for, I guess, redundant speaking. So, safety notes, just identifying what warning and caution would be. So, warning statements describe the conditions that may lead to personal injury, including potential fatal injury, if the machine is not properly used and warnings are not properly followed. Caution statements are describe conditions that may lead to equipment damage, electrical shock, or serious or fatal injury as well. Only qualified personnel should install, maintain, or troubleshoot this equipment. Okay, so for the first warning, because it was very wordy and dense, I'll just do my highlights. Warning, do not operate this grinder until you are sure that you are completely familiar with its safety operation and the grinder, all accessories and safety equipment. Any improper use can lead to severe injury. The next one, warning, to prevent electrical shock and the accidental machine operation, always disconnect the grinder from the power source before servicing. Avoid accidental startup, make sure that the switch is off or in the off position before connecting to the power source. Be sure that the system is properly grounded before applying power. Do not apply power before you ensure that the grounds are connected. Warning, always use safety glasses or side shields or a full face shield when operating this grinder. Warning, suitable accessories or attachments added to this machine can create hazards. Be sure that they are all basically away from the turning grinder when in use. Warning, keep guards in place and in working order. We'll go over the spacing of what they should be in a little bit. Warning, keep the work area clean and well lit. Warning, do not use in dangerous environment. Do not use the grinders in damp or wet locations or expose them to rain. Electrical shock can cause serious injury or even fatal injury. Follow the National Electrical Code and EC and local codes for the safe installation of this equipment. Warning related to PPE. Do not wear loose clothing, neckties, rings, bracelets, or other jewelry that can get caught in the moving parts. I believe it is only recommended that if you're using gloves at all, use leather gloves. Warning, do not overreach. Keep proper footing and balance at all times. The rotating wheel can catch any article of clothing and cause personal injury. There's a statement about secure work and using clamps, but I don't think that's applicable to your application. I think mostly it's going to be grinding parts and not exactly fastening equipment down to the ground. Always have the grinder in the off position when changing the position of the pivot hook. So make sure it's not rotating or anything when adjusting the guards or changing out any of the tools or removing any of the covers. Warning, never install a wheel that is damaged. Any chipped or cracked wheel on any surface can cause a accident that will cause severe injury. Warning, check for damaged parts. Before further use of the grinder, a guard or other part that is damaged should be carefully checked and to ensure that it is operating correctly or replaced if needed. Warning, use proper extension cords. Make sure that your extension cord is in good condition if required. This one is not, it's right next to the plug and it's currently plugged in. Warning, dust created during grinding, sawing, power sanding, drilling, and or other activities may contain chemicals unknown to the state of California that can cause cancer, birth defect, or other reproductive harm. Another reason why the dust collector is present. Warning, please, in general, just keep children and visitors away. No untrained personnel. Warning, never leave the grinder in a running unattended. Always turn the power off after use. And then a caution statement that is important. Always use the guards and ice shields. Do not over tighten the wheel nut. I believe that can cause a crack that is not visible to the human eye and cause premature breakage of the wheel that could lead to injury. If you notice any cracks or chips in the wheel, replace that cracked or chipped wheel immediately. Next page. One of the caution statements. Maintain a 1/8 or less clearance between the tool rest and the wheel. And I also believe any of the spacings between the regular guards that cover the rest of the wheel should be 1/4 inch. And then moving on to the next one is only grind on the grinding face of the wheels only, unless you have or know that the grinding wheel is designed to be ground outside. And then there's just a general overview of what the actual unit looks like. So for the most part, we will note that there is a quench pot here for water or oil. There is a tool stand or table on the side here as well. It's kind of hard to see in this image. The top eye shields here also have a small 40-watt bolt that is inside that will light up when the machine is on, and you'll have to replace those as needed. And you can see the grinding wheels that are here, and then there's not exactly like an isolation or stop switch. It is just a quick on-off switch right there. So a quick flip of the finger. So we can skip through the installations because they are already installed and ready to use. And then just on the electrical adjustments, there's one statement I wanted to highlight. All attachment plugs and any receptacles must be replaced with a device rated for the voltage that the grinder, for which the grinder is connected. So there's one tap. Next page. So the grounding instructions. Just be sure that the system is properly grounded before applying power. You can see in figure A and B, basically what that means, and what it's related to depending on the different outlets. Scroll down just a little bit more. So under operation, I want to highlight that warning as well. Do not operate this grinder until you are sure that you are completely familiar with the safe operation of this grinder and all accessories and safety equipment. Any improper use can lead to severe injury. This manual defines the proper use of this equipment. And then when we go down to maintenance, we go down to those. So for maintenance, warning, to prevent electrical shock. To prevent electrical shock after an accidental machine operation, always disconnect the grinder from the power source before servicing, changing accessories such as wheels, tool rests, spark registers, etc. before performing any maintenance. Warning, never install a wheel that is damaged. Any chips or cracks on any surface. A damaged wheel can disintegrate while rotating at a high RPM, and when work is placed against this wheel, this can cause severe injury or harm to the operator. basically gone over all the regular operations. Everything is basically on all switches to make sure you're unplugged whenever performing any maintenance or replacement parts. There would be the warranty statement from the manufacturer. It would be in your packet for reference. So I guess that would conclude the classroom portion of this one, and then we would take that and go down to the actual grinder and do the live demo.
We have our cover for if we have an unused one. Both the doors open.
Someone operating any type of grinder unsafely, stop the work process. Then take the time to coach them in the correct behavior.
Grinder incidents resulting in injury and near misses are usually a direct result of operators not recognizing hazards, becoming complacent, and taking shortcuts.
There are no shortcuts with bench grinders, and so that the proper rules of operation will be understood and applied, all operators must be instructed in the potential hazards and safe use of the bench or pedestal grinder.
In addition, make certain you read the manufacturer's operating manual before using the machine. Manuals can be obtained from your supervisor or at the tool crib.
Here's the minimum personal protective equipment required for grinding: hard hat, work boots, good quality leather gloves, and hearing protection.
A face shield must be worn along with face and eye protection to include safety glasses with side shields. Monogoggles may be required if there's a possibility of particles deflecting inside the face shield, such as grinding inside congested areas. Hazardous conditions requiring monogoggles would be addressed in the field level hazard assessment, company policy, or a specific job site rule.
Respiratory protection should always be considered depending on what you are grinding. Respiratory protection may consist of an air purifying respirator or even supplied air. Make sure you check the material safety data sheets to become aware of the specifics of the material you're grinding, such as stainless steel, galvanized products, and other exotic metals. Make certain you know the protection you require.
Be careful about outer clothing. Anything that could snag or catch fire is dangerous. Wear long sleeves and tuck in shirt tails. Do not wear loose-fitting clothes. It's best to wear natural fibers like cotton, as synthetics like polyester are extremely flammable. Always remember that personal protective equipment is the last line of defense and does not replace the use of safe work practices for grinder operation.
Your company may require monthly documented inspections of bench and pedestal grinders. This will require a designated competent person to complete the inspections. But most importantly, before each use, the operator must inspect the grinder, stone, and various components. Check the cord for fraying or other damage, that the plug end and prongs are securely in place, the switch to make certain it works properly, and all protection hoods and adjustable hood guards must be tight and secure. Do not tamper with or customize guards. They are there to protect you.
Ensure the grinder itself is solidly fastened and anchored.
The tool rest must be set not more than 1/8 inch from the face of the wheel. As the operator, you are responsible for maintaining this proper distance. As the stone wears down, the rest and guard must be adjusted accordingly.
This is critical, as too large a gap enables the wheel to grab both small flat pieces of metal and gloves, pulling everything into the grinder, which may cause serious injury.
The tool rest must be set slightly below the center of the wheel, so the material contacts the wheel at the correct angle. Above center contact makes control much more difficult, which creates more potential for hazards and greater risks. Also, the wheel is not as efficient when operated in the incorrect position.
The work rest must remain 90 degrees to the tangent of the wheel at the point of contact. Remember, the positioning of the tool rest is extremely critical with a bench grinder.
Make certain the grinder is de-energized and unplugged before making adjustments. Never adjust the work rest while the wheel is in motion.
The maximum allowable space between the wheel and the adjustable tongue guard shall not exceed 1/4 inch.
Inspect the stone grinding wheel for chips, worn edges, cracks, and general condition. A worn stone wheel is inefficient and dangerous. Wheels can fragment and fly apart, causing serious injury or even death. Do not use a wheel that is worn or out of round.
Ridges on the stone wheel can be dressed or evened with a stone dressing tool. However, if the abrasive stone is damaged or worn beyond dressing, replace it.
To change the wheel or make adjustments on a 110-volt pedestal or bench grinder, unplug the 110-volt cord and have the cord end in your control. You don't want someone energizing the tool while you're changing stones.
A designated competent person must be contacted before changing wheels or making adjustments on 220-volt and 440-volt pedestal and bench grinders.
Lockout and tagout procedures must be followed. When removing a stone wheel, follow the manufacturer's instructions. Different manufacturers have different methods for stone wheel installation and removal.
The manufacturer will provide specifications regarding the correct diameter of mounting flange for the wheel you will be using.
The general rule is that all stone wheels must be mounted between steel safety flanges of equal size, not less than 1/3 the diameter of the wheel. Check the manufacturer's manual for specifications.
When installing wheels, care should be taken to tighten the end nut only enough to drive the wheel and prevent slippage. Over-tightening can damage the integrity of the stone wheel.
Too much pressure can cause the wheel to fracture, and it may not be visible to the naked eye. Minute cracks can lead to the wheel dangerously flying apart when put in motion. Always review the stone wheel specifications.
All bench and pedestal grinders and all stone wheels have an RPM rating. The stone wheel must always have an RPM rating at least as high as the rating for the grinder. The wheel may have a higher rating, but never lower. Wheels rotating at higher speeds than their rating may fly apart or shatter altogether. Double check that both RPM ratings match.
Your bench grinder RPM rating must be legible, but if in doubt, check with your supervisor. Always ask.
After changing a wheel, ensure the guards are back in place, all tools have been removed from the area, and that the switch is in the off position. Then plug in the grinder and test the stone installation by standing off to the side, flipping the switch on, and allowing the wheel to come up to speed for 1 minute. You're checking for wobbly or uneven rotating of the stone. If it is not running smoothly, do not proceed with any grinding. Turn off the machine and wait for it to cease spinning. Unplug the machine and contact your supervisor.
Faulty or defective grinders must be tagged and removed from service for repair. It's important to fill out the repair tags stating exactly what is not working correctly with the tool. This saves important maintenance time and effort in getting the tool safely back into service.
Every grinding stone wheel has an intended purpose. Always use the correct tool for the intended job. And always check the stone wheel manufacturer's specifications for installation and operation. Ensure you have the recommended guard in place.
Tungsten can destroy an expensive stone wheel in seconds. Grinders used for tungsten rods are marked as such and used only for that purpose.
When starting a bench or pedestal grinder, stand to the side, clear of the wheel, out of the line of fire, until the grinder reaches its operating speed.
Run materials across the wheel to ensure even use of the abrasive surface. Also, the material should be presented square to the wheel so as not to gouge and damage it. The side of the wheel must not be used unless it has been designed for that purpose.
The same techniques apply as with portable grinders. Keep an even pressure, using only enough force to remove the material. Additional pressure may damage the disc, place the worker at risk, and may harm the grinder motor.
Never leave a spinning stone wheel unattended. They are a silent danger.
As abrasive wheels and discs may damage and even shatter if incorrectly handled, they must be carefully protected when stored.
Stone wheels should be stored in a dry location, free of any contaminants such as oil, grease, or water, including condensation. Contaminants may break down the bonding agents within the stone wheel and lead to dangerous disintegration. Flawed or cracked stone wheels must be discarded.
After completing your grinding task, clean, sweep, and tidy your areas so as to prevent small particle residue from becoming eye irritants for your coworkers who will be using the grinder for other jobs. Safety is contagious. Be considerate of others.